Hello everyone, welcome to lecture 14 on the lecture series Differential Equation and Discrete Mathematics. In this session we will be discussing the notion of general solution of the second order linear differential equation and Wronskian of two functions. Before getting into today's content, I would like to make an important note on the theorem existence and uniqueness theorem for the differential equation, which we have already discussed in the first lecture of this chapter. So, let us quickly recollect this theorem. In fact, if I have defined this theorem for a homogeneous differential equation, here is a general statement for the non-homogeneous second order linear differential equation. So, what does this theorem says? Consider the initial value problem y double prime plus p of x y prime plus q of x y is equal to r of x with the initial condition y of x naught is equal to y naught and y prime of x naught is equal to y1. So, and the function p and q and r are in such a way that they are continuous on this interval alpha comma beta on which we want to find a solution for this differential equation. Then there exists one and only one solution, one function y of x satisfying the initial value problem 1 and the initial condition on the interval alpha comma beta and the initial condition y of x naught is equal to y naught and y prime of x naught is equal to y1. Definitely this x naught have to be a point from alpha comma beta. So, this theorem says that given a initial value problem, a second order linear differential equation with the initial condition having the coefficient of y dash and coefficient of y and the independent term continuous on the interval alpha comma beta, the given initial value problem will have only one, a unique solution satisfying the initial condition. So, having understand this, we discuss this without proof. So, having understand this, here is an important property or important corollary derived from the same theorem. What does this theorem, what does this property says? That suppose we have a differential equation y double prime plus p of x y prime plus q of x y is equal to r of x. Definitely this p, q and r we want to be a continuous functions, although I have not mentioned because I have directly picked up this differential equation from the top part. And suppose we have two functions f and g of x which satisfies this given differential equation, along with that it satisfies this f and g agree at one arbitrary point as well as they agree at its first derivative at the same point, then this function will agree everywhere on alpha comma beta, that is f of x will be same as g of x for all x in alpha comma beta. I repeat, I have a fixed point x naught in alpha comma beta and f and g are functions defined on alpha comma beta in such a way that it satisfies this differential equation y double prime plus p of x y prime plus q of x y is equal to r of x, being p, q and r being continuous, and f and g are equal at the point x naught and its derivative are also equal at the point x naught, then this theorem says that the given function will not only be equal at x naught, it is going to be equal for every point in the domain or in the interval alpha comma beta. So, this is a very interesting theorem. We use this theorem in the theoretical part of developing the structure of general solution to the given differential equation. In fact, we can prove this since it is a corollary which is derived from the above part. Okay, so what I will do over here is that since f of x naught and f of x naught and g of x naught are equal, I will call this as 1. So, let one value. So, I will assign c to be f of x naught which is same as g of x naught, and I will assign d to f prime of x naught g prime of x naught. So we have the initial value problem y prime pxy plus q of x y is equal to rx. Okay, so the given IVP can be written as in this way: f of x naught is equal to y of x naught. So that can be written as y of x naught is equal to c and y prime of x naught is equal to d. So exactly we have converted this differential equation into this initial value problem, because I know that f of x naught is equal to g of x naught. Okay, so I can consider this y either as f or g, because that y satisfies the given equation, and the value at the point x naught of f and g I can consider it as c, and the value of f prime and g prime at the x naught I can consider as d. So this whole thing f and g satisfies this. Okay, in fact I can say that I'll consider this. Okay, let me cancel this. So I can say that thus f and g satisfy 1. So once it satisfies 1, okay, now just look at this initial value problem. It's a differential equation with this initial condition, and therefore this initial value problem will have a unique solution. So that what does it says, that if f and g both satisfies 1, then f and g have to be equal on the whole. Thus f is same as g, that is on I, so that is same as f of x is same as g of x for all x in alpha comma beta. So this is in fact a very interesting result which we would be using in most of the theoretical part. In fact, in particular, if I would write down this as a note, in particular, if y prime okay, in particular this differential equation y double prime plus p of x into y prime plus q of x into y is equal to 0 with the initial condition y prime at x naught y of x naught is same as y prime of x naught, which is equal to 0, then y of x is equal to 0 is the only solution of given differential equation on the whole interval alpha comma beta. So if at any arbitrary point in alpha comma beta, if this y satisfy y of x naught is equal to 0 and y prime of x naught is equal to 0. So on the right hand side we have 0 and it 0 satisfy at the value of the function at a point x naught and its derivative, then the only possibility for this homogeneous differential equation, see we can make out that y is equal to 0 is always a solution. So that is the only solution on the whole interval we can have, no other solution. So this is also an important note, and it is derived from the previous corollary itself. I have just changed r of x to be equal to 0, and here f of x naught is taken to be 0 and f prime of x naught is taken to be 0. Okay, now coming to today's content. So we define general solution. A function yg consisting expression consisting of x, c1 and c2, some arbitrary constant, it's called the general solution of second order linear differential equation. So this is a second order linear homogeneous differential equation, to be more precise. If any solution y of the differential equation 1 can be obtained from this yg of x comma c1 comma c2 by suitably choosing the value c1 and c2. Okay, so any solution of this differential equation can be written using this yg of x comma c1 comma c2. This y suffix g is the standard notation to denote the general solution to of the homogeneous differential equation. So if any solution can be obtained through this, then by suitably choosing this C1 and C2, then we say that it's a general solution to the given differential equation. And our whole aim is to derive this kind of general solution to the given differential equation, so that any solution can be obtained from that general solution. So that is what we are discussing. Okay, now we define a very important structure in differential equation, that's called as the Wronskian. Here I am defining it for 2 functions. It can be defined for n functions as well. Okay, so let y1 and y2 be 2 real valued function, and they are differentiable on interval I. Why differentiable? Why the first derivative? Only first derivative is required, because we are defining its Wronskian as the determinant of y1, y2. The first row is y1 of x into y2 of x, and the second row is y1 prime of x and y2 prime of x. So this is called as the Wronskian of y1 and y2. Now the notation is also important. This is how we denote it. It's a function of x. So w of y1 comma y2 of x is denoted for the Wronskian of y1 and y2. This plays a crucial role in determining whether the given 2 solutions of the differential equation are linearly independent or not. And in fact, if they are linearly independent, we can construct a general solution which we are looking for. So for that we are developing the theory. And so sometime for our convenience, if we know that y1 and y2 are some notation given for the solutions, then or some function, then we denote this Wronskian simply as w of x, considering that y1 and y2 are known. So some examples we would like to mention over here of a Wronskian of a function. Example, first one, let me take y1 to be equal to sin x and y2 is equal to cos x. Everyone knows that these are 2 differentiable functions. By the way, in the previous definition, if you have seen that Wronskian is defined on an interval I, so that is also very important. This function is defined on an interval I. So we are looking for the value of y1 and y2 only on an interval I. Okay, so therefore it is very important to denote the interval. In this case, I will take it as whole R. So Wronskian of y1 comma y2 is nothing but the determinant of y1 of x, y2 of x, y1 prime of x, y2 prime of x, and so it is same as determinant of y1 is nothing but sin x, y2 is nothing but cos x, derivative of sin x, that is y1 prime sin x cos x, and derivative of cos x is minus sin x. Everyone knows how to compute the Wronskian, so it's same as minus sin square. It's same as 1, I think, right? Cos square minus of this sine into minus of sine, so you get plus sin square plus cos square, and that's equal to 1. So similarly, again one more example I would like to take. y1 is equal to e raised to 2x, and I'll take y2 to be equal to e raised to 2x, again on x belongs to R. So if I take the Wronskian of this e raised to x comma e raised to 2x on x, that is nothing but its derivative e raised to x as it is e raised to 2x, then its derivative as the second row e raised to x, derivative of e raised to 2x is 2 into e raised to 2x. So this becomes, okay, one can compute and check that this is same as e raised to 3x, right, because you have e raised to x into e raised to 2x, that is e raised to 3x minus 2 into e raised to 2x, so that's the same as e raised to 3x. So in the next lecture we will be discussing some more properties of Wronskian to develop the structure, to get the general solution for the given differential equation. So stay tuned for the next video and have a nice day ahead. Thank you for watching this.